Good day, everyone. My name is Teacher Mikaela, and I will be discussing today's lesson, which is Steps to Treat Students Fairly. Our course intended learning outcome is to demonstrate knowledge of policies, guidelines, and procedures that provide safe and secure learning environments and promote fairness, respect, and care for learners. The session objectives is number 1, determine factors that contribute to a safe and secure learning environment. Next is to explain the state of safety and security of learning environments could influence student achievement. Last one is to determine strategies and techniques to ensure that learning environments are safe and secure for learners. Let's start the discussion by answering the essential question: how can interpersonal relationships in learning environments be best managed? Of course, we have to evaluate classroom climate. The teacher is responsible for student perceptions about the classroom, their fellow students, and you. When evaluating your classroom climate, you want to know first that students are learning, but also that students feel that you are competent in your craft and fair to all students. Meaning to say, it's your duty to assess the classroom climate and to provide how your students would see their fellow students. Also, keep in mind that your students look up to you as someone who definitely know what they are doing. So evaluate the classroom climate using those strategies. Next one is to be consistent. First, ask yourself, what would my students say about me and their classroom? Am I consistent with punishments and rewards? Students will trust you if the punishment fits the crime, so to speak. Also, if one student misbehaves, then he or she must receive the same response that another student would receive. Consistency is always the key. Be consistent with your punishments as well as your rewards, and have an equal treatment within the classroom. With that being said, you also have to ask yourself, are you being unfair? It's a nice habit, it's a good habit to ask yourself this question every now and then, especially if your observation within the class is that they are misbehaving too often. Is it because are you being unfair or are you being inconsistent with your policies within the classroom? Now, let's talk about the steps to treat students fairly. First off is to check yourself. Know yourself, and when you are having a bad day, correct it right away or let the students know what is happening if appropriate. If you came from a previous class which misbehaves so bad that it ruined your mood, tell your students what happened if the information is appropriate, as well as your personal dealings. You can tell your students as long as it's still appropriate for them to hear. However, if it's too confidential or if it's too personal, just tell them that your state of mind or your state of mental health is not good for the day, but you will be able to proceed with the discussion. Next one is to promote equality. Promote gender and racial equality in all subjects, also for religion, beliefs, and so to speak. Give equal praise and expectations in math and science for girls, in reading and writing for boys. As we all know, we have the stereotype that math and science are only for boys and girls are for reading and writing, which is not the case because everyone, any gender, could excel at anything as long as they want to and as long as they want to excel in that field. So promote equality in the class. Next one is to apologize. Apologize when you make a mistake or have a misunderstanding. You will be a great model if you have the habit of apologizing. It's not so bad for your students to know that you take responsibility of your mistake. It's important that you be a great role model for your student, because if you can apologize, that means they too can apologize as a person. All right? So you also have to apologize if there is a misinformation shared within the class, and you can say you stand corrected when a student corrects you. That's actually a good sign that your student is paying attention and is attentive within the class. Number 4 is to be systematic. Create well-developed lesson plans, an organized classroom, and clear expectation for all students. Be prepared every day. Make sure that all your materials are gathered ahead of time. Make sure that every classroom or every class that you are attending, you are prepared all the time. So have a system, organize your lesson plans, organize the classroom, and of course, make it clear for your students what are the objectives for the day's lesson. Number 5, collaborate with students. Collaborate with students on projects and let them help to make classroom decisions. This one promotes not only fairness, but also equality within the classroom. Even though you are the authority, you sometimes give them the hand or give them the position to make classroom decisions. Like, for example, make them decide on which officers to elect, or decide for a project, for example, which system is best. Is it groupings, individual, group by 4, group by 3, group by 5, so on and so forth. It makes your students be confident about themselves too, so that they will be confident within your class. Next is to give equal attention. When selecting students to either participate in question and answer or to help out in the classroom, always do it random draw and keep track of whom you have called upon. Help a struggling student individually. So when we are selecting our students, especially with recitations, question and answer portions, select them randomly. Don't have favorites. Favoritism is one of the most unfair treatment that we can give to our students. So as much as possible, use random draw or select students that are not yet selected. All right? And whenever a student is struggling on reciting or struggling in the class, help them individually so that you can also address what they are dealing with in the classroom. And for the last one, assess fairly. Keep accurate assessment records. In addition to telling parents, let students know their grades and where they need improvement. It's important for your students to know why they had that grade, why you have observed that behavior of them within the classroom, so that they may be able to know which part of themselves would be improved. Okay, would they have to improve? Aside from telling the parents, it's really fair for your students to know that there is something that they can improve. So you tell them individually. All right, so that is it for our discussion for today. I hope I was able to feed you with the right information regarding treating students fairly.